Morning, we're here today to introduce a couple new interns to the farm who are going to be here to learn about the process of keeping bees and how to take care of them and ultimately how to harvest the honey from those bees. So we brought bees onto the farm in 2022 as a project that my youngest son was interested in. At the time he was in 8th grade and he came to us expressing a curiosity about bees and potentially starting to keep bees. I think originally for him, it was just kind of an activity and something that he thought would be interesting. And little by little, it's grown into a business that he manages. Bees for the farm are great because honeybees are a good pollinator. So they both pollinate some of our crops and then provide us with food at the end of the summer in terms of honey. So there's a number of tools that we use to keep bees. To start out with, we always make sure that we're safe, especially when we're working with students, but even when I'm out doing it on my own or with my son, we'll always suit up. And so part of the suit is gloves. When you're working with the bees, your hands are right in with the beehives and right along the bees, and it's really easy to get stung on your hands. We try to have our whole body covered when we're working with the bees. And the next piece of that protection is a suit. And so, again, the suits this is a thick, it's almost kind of like white denim, but the suits have a hood and there's zippers for everything. So we are really closed in, and where the zippers don't complete, there's a little bit of Velcro on here to seal the suit up. But this suit has Velcro and elastic around the ankles, and so it really seals your entire person up, so the bees shouldn't be able to get in. Every so often one might sneak in, but in general, and the bees also cannot sting us through the suit. It's thick enough. So in addition to the safety, we have a number of tools that we use to work with the bees. These are called hive tools, and there's two different styles. We like these with the hook a little better, but both work equally as well. And we use these the bees create something called propolis, which is a little bit like glue. So these tools help us just loosen everything up and get the frames out. You can see this frame was one that we didn't harvest last year, but all of this is capped honey. So all of this that's covered is honey that they set aside and that we just didn't end up collecting next year. And sometimes we do that. These we actually had, sometimes the bees will leave the hive, and so we actually had a bunch of bees leave their hive in the fall, and so that's why we didn't collect these. And sometimes we won't harvest all of the honey because this is great. We'll be able to add this to the top of one of the beehives today, and it will give the bees a little extra of a food source as they're kind of getting started out this spring. This is a really useful tool when we're keeping the bees. And so we'll fill this with pine needles or cardboard or paper of some sort, and we'll pack it really, really tight. This is a smoker. And so the smoker helps keep the bees calm. Sometimes we can hear the bees getting louder, and that's a sign that they are getting a little bit more worked up. And so we can use the bees. We just gently squeeze this and it will puff smoke out, and the smoke really calms the bees. The bees communicate through pheromones, and the smoke can kind of mask their pheromones. And so we'll smoke the bees before we open the hive up. Inside of all the boxes are frames. And so the frames are where the bees go to make the comb, which is this. The queen will lay eggs inside of there. And then this is where they store honey and pollen and all of their brood, which is the baby bees. I usually come through, and you can see how they're stuck, and come through and loosen like half of them or most of them. Sometimes I'll do all of them. I'm doing it a little faster than you'll do it, but you'll go a little bit slow because they'll be stuck together. I'll show you on this one that's even more stuck. To loosen them up. Right, and imagine there's bees everywhere. These are entirely covered with bees.
Oh, lovely.
And so you're gonna have to like wiggle them to the side, or sometimes you can brush them. You'll have gloves, you can scooch them. Bees don't like your breath, so the other way if you need to move bees is to gently blow on them. It's not any offense against your breath, it's the carbon dioxide. That's what people think. So some of them take quite a bit of force. So you have in your hand, you'll check this side. We try to set them down as little as we can. So check this side, and then really carefully, because you really don't want to drop it. It's not the end of the world, but you can take it and then you can flip it over and look at it like this. If you see something and you think, oh, I want to see that a little closer, but it's covered with bees, you'll just blow, and they won't scatter, but you'll see them just sort of open up. It can be a really useful tool because you don't have to set this down and grab something else. Yeah, so do you guys want to try Yep, so you'll slide it in the side and then it's, yep, rock it back and it'll pry up. Like those are probably larvae that was in here when we brought it in. That's the start of a queen cell. So those are what we're gonna watch out for. See, they're a little bigger and they're open on the bottom. And you'll see some, hopefully we don't see any, but probably we'll see some where there'll be one here in the middle and that'll look really like a peanut. If you can get in there and wiggle it, sometimes that helps. And these won't be frozen, they'll be warm, so it's a lot softer. You're welcome to take your shoes off, but usually if you zip these all the way up, you can slide your feet in with your shoes on. It'll feel a little bit awkward, but you're gonna wanna zip it all the way to the top.
I gotta get it here. Like,
you wanna be as closed up as you can. So it's pretty small, but there are, in, I don't know, 4 years of doing this, maybe once or twice I've had a bee somehow get into the suit. So if you do feel something, speak up and then we'll just move away from the bees and get the soup off. I would say don't freak out, because the more you freak out, the more they'll freak out. And so I'm just breaking them down, and that just lets me pack them in a little bit. And then sometimes we'll put like paper on top just because it catches on fire a little easier. So now the whole thing is pretty well full. So usually we try to make sure that it's going pretty well before we close it up. You guys feeling good? Yeah. So I'm gonna set this one off to the side. So yeah, that's another, like, don't wear cologne or perfume when you come. They don't like strong smells. I'll sometimes like smoke myself a little bit, like if you have laundry detergent that has a strong smell.
really?
So this is the outer cover. Some of the other outer covers are a little different, but a lot of times too, we'll lift this one up and we'll put a little bit of smoke inside. And then we'll close it. And again, we're just gonna like give it a beat. Pry this off. And see, I can just barely lift that off. So if you feel like you're really bending it, you can come through and pop the other side off.
Oh.
And there you go. And so same thing, I'm gonna pry it up. And then really slowly, right now it's covered with bees, and so really slowly I'm gonna pull it out. So this one was probably full of honey, which is fine if there's ever a spot, like if it rains, bees don't come out when it rains. So if there's a week where it rains all the time, then they can come back in and use some of that for food. And you can see like the bees are really calm. They don't, like, we could probably do without a suit today. We won't ever be actually working with the bees without a suit, but. So that's all honey.
Wow.
So you can see the liquid inside of there.
That's really cool.
And then this, they're just waiting for it to dry, or it's not finished, so they're still eating it. And so usually I'll set the tool down in between, and right, I can flip it up and check on it like this. See how they sort of scatter, and they get a little more agitated. And then when I put it back in, I'm just gonna put it in as gentle as I can. And then you can slide it to the side. With the tool, I'll pop one more out. Usually you're just trying to kind of break that glue. So right there, those are the eggs.
Okay.
So you can see those are capped brood. And so it's a little hard to see, but if you look really close, so this one's feeding the larva. It's kind of crazy. That's what they're doing in there.
Yeah.
So do you guys feel good about doing it? Do you want me to do a couple more? You probably won't feel good until you have a couple going, but. Yep, so really you're just gonna give it a quick, swift, yep, And now you can take that and you can put it on top of here if you want. Or on top of that one too. Yep. Yep, so there, that's all honey.
Yeah.
So we're in kind of looking for the different types of bees, and there's some bees right in here that are either depositing honey or potentially feeding the larva. You can kind of see their rear end sticking out right here. We're also kind of looking, we're always keeping an eye out for the queen. We just caught her a minute ago, or just saw her. And so we're also just kind of getting a general feel for if the bees are kind of calm. Like right now, they're just kind of doing their own thing. There's a drone right here. So drones look really similar to the worker bees, but those are the only male bees in the hive. And so you can see he's kind of just moving around, kind of lazy. He doesn't really do anything right now. He's just there to fertilize the eggs for the queen if there is ever a new queen. Either in this hive or the drones will come out and fertilize the eggs of queens in other hives. And so just like he did, we flip the hive over so we can check both sides and kind of see what's going on. We're gently blowing on it. That can let us see, since there's a big pile of bees on top, that'll let us see what's going on underneath some of the bees. The bees don't like the CO2 in your breath, so it gives you a chance to kind of see what's going on under them. Yep, so that's a pretty good number of bees. Like, and that's kind of what we like to see, is like the whole frame covered. That means that we've got a pretty good population. If you look really close, you can see a 2 Julian right here, this bee.
Oh, Mr. Mill, is that the queen?
No, see, but see how, oh yeah, that's a queen. Good job. You see her?
Eureka. Here.
Should we try to get a dot on her?
The queen's the please, she, I'm so sorry. Yeah, he's really big. And she's kind of orange. And in my hand. Yep.
Where did you see where she went?
She's like right in the middle. She's little. Right at the bottom. Kind of scared. I can't really like.
You're all right. Oh, right here.
Yeah, that worked. I'm sorry, but I just squashed. There you go. All right.
So good job. But yeah, that's what the queen
looks like.
I don't want to mess with her because she's the boss of the whole thing. But and so in theory, you should start to see eggs. If the queen's on there, there's a pretty good chance that that's the frame that she's working on.